All right, everybody, we finally have this done. My Commander Farsight is finished. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and explain everything we've done. We've got a long video, about an hour and a half. So let's get into this. So let's go through some of these colors. So we're going to go with the khaki. That was what we used on our devilfish, our primary color. We got our whites and our bright golds for when we do weathering. Then we have another series of whites that we're going to use. These are kind of all the blues. Then, of course, we're going to get our olive drab out. This is kind of our background color, or one of our highlight colors. Then we're going to get into the Home Depot, sort of a bluish gray, right? And again, I'm telling you, this Home Depot stuff works. You may not think it does, but it is buttery smooth when it goes on, and it dries flat. Okay, so let's look at the miniature. Here is my Commander Farsight, or my version, right, from Pipermakes. You guys saw the video of me building it, putting it together, 3D printed. We got dual shields. We got the short blade, or his short blade. And then right here, as you can see, I'm pointing out, we've started a little bit with our kind of bluish gray Home Depot kind of color, okay? So then we have our two oils that we go with, right? Our standard black and our standard burnt umber. You guys have all seen this process. Again, if you haven't, go check out my devilfish painting tutorial, or basically kind of a how to paint. So the first thing we're going to do is, on this particular model, is we're going to undercoat or base coat. And the primary color of his armor is going to be this blue. It's going to be the underneath tone, or the underneath shade. And then we're going to build over the top of that. So you'll see as we get into it. So just basically get my wet palette out, put a little bit of this on the wet palette. It doesn't take a lot. I kind of used a little bit too much. We use a wet palette here to kind of thin the paint out a little bit. That's what the wet palette kind of helps to do. One, it keeps your paints moist, or so they don't dry out. So you can, pop your palette open from painting session to painting session, and your colors will always be fresh. Here I'm showing you, we're using the Da Vinci. This is one of, it's a very good brush. I love these brushes. I don't know where I bought them. I think I bought them at an art mart in California, down the street in like Costa Mesa. But these Da Vincis are nice. So you see, just go in, grab a little bit of blue, and then we're going to go ahead and start in on the armor, his underneath armor. Not a lot of detail. We don't really have to be too careful. We don't want to be sloppy and like put it everywhere, of course, but we use a little bit bigger brush. We do this just so we can be a little bit quicker, so we can get through this stage of the process. So we're going to finish up the legs here, or at least the leg portion of the model, and then I'll continue to do this off camera. As you can see, base coated on the legs. Okay, so base coat's finished. Now we're going to get into the oils, or the wash. Again, for me, pretty standard process. We're going to bust out the black, and we're going to bust out the burnt umber in oils. just like on the devilfish, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to basically stain the model, or I'm going to wash the whole thing. This is my style. I've just been doing this for a very long time. Could I paint the model black or brown or something much darker than the khaki that I chose, and maybe start painting from there? Yes, possibly. Would it speed up some of my time? Not sure. I mean, not positive. Here you can see me, just take a pause here from commentary. You can see me thinning out my oils with mineral spirits. Again, you want a nice runny consistency, sort of like a panel liner, you know, so like when you're doing Gundam type work. So back to the oil question. So the reason I do this is I'm trying to develop the undertones or the shadings, and I do it this way versus, let's say, the slap chop method, right, where you would go with a dark color first, then you'd try from that dark color to bring out all the highlights or the depth by building on top of that with lighter and lighter colors as you go to the top. If you're doing a zenithal highlight, whatever, I do a little bit different. Again, maybe this is like from the 1980s or 90s, old school. But I wash the model first to build that depth and that contrast. I want all the nooks, crannies, recesses to kind of fill in and have more of a blended look. So here we go. Okay, so this is done, and now what we're going to do is we're going to just let this dry. Most likely we're going to let this dry probably 24 hours or a little bit longer. Okay, so you can see we now have some color. So after that dried, I went ahead, the oils were dry. I painted basically half his body, so you can see on one leg I continued the process just to move through it, because we're already going to be at an hour and a half. I mean, I can see on the screen as I'm editing this, it's going to end up being an hour and a half video. So just to let you guys know, I know that. Well, I knew it was going to be even longer if I sat here and tried to do everything on camera. I just can't do it. So what I'm doing here is I'm pointing out that you guys can see the reds have sort of been highlighted. You look in that foot, I got some corrosion already going in that little ball joint there. Some gold highlights. You can also see on that foot that it's been shaded or sort of highlighted, because now you can see the facets on his actual foot, right? I'm showing you the olive color up top, the khaki in the middle, the red, right? Pointing out the red here, very obvious. I'm just going through basically everything that I've done to show you guys, because we will move to the other side of the model. I've got the little 3 white dots, which is a continuation from my devilfish. So now I'm kind of tying the models in using colors. We go ahead and we look in here. You can notice I've actually started practicing some weathering. And this is, I mean, again, I think it's really cool. Look at that. So I've used some Dirty Downs rust, some of this blue that you see running through the model, and my gold. So my kind of gold technique where the scratches are gold versus what would be a standard silver, right? Metal color of being steel. So half of it's done. Now we're going to kind of move to the other half. A little bit of it has been done. sword is, I'm pointing things out basically. Oh, another thing too. So this is the first time that you've seen color. So I wanted to use the armor colors of his environment. But again, Commander Farsight, I wanted to pay respect or homage to the battle where all his guys died. I can't remember. I'm not very good at lore, but I know he had a big battle where tons of his folks died. Here I'm showing you, here comes another technique. Again, this is just mine. I'm going to use speed paint as an actual paint, right? I mean, I know it's called speed paint, but I'm using it like a top coat, not for what you'd call slap chop or, like an ink. I'm not using it like that. I'm actually using it as a top coat. So you'll see. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the two shields now. So we're going to do the first shield up front. And then I'll come back and you'll see me start hitting the second shield up top, the higher shield on his left arm. Pay particular attention on how speed paint, as used as like a top coat or a paint, how it flows into the cracks and crevices, sort of creates its own highlights, its own shadows, very similar to an ink, but it's not so saturated that it comes out like a hard top coat or like just blanks out the model surface. You can still see some of what's going on underneath. It's hard to explain, but again, that's why I use it like this. Hopefully by the video you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, so now here we go into the second shield. And again, you can see what I mean by the flow, the color, what it picks up underneath. It's just different than paint. And I use it, like I said, as a top coat. Okay, so we're done kind of base coating or undercoating the shield. We will go over with different colors. But you can see how it just, again, creates that contrast and that depth. You'll see as I bring it in even closer in the cracks and the little nooks and crannies, it pools like right there. And you can see that darkness or that richness that this provides over a basic paint, right? I don't want to have to go back in and rewash or rebuild up that contrast or the darkness of where two joints come together. I just don't want to have to repaint that. So this is just the easiest way to do it. All right, so now airbrush time. So the first thing I want you guys to see is the clear plastic wrap that I'm using over the model. Okay, so this is just sandwich bag material. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the glow effects on his shield. And we're going to go ahead and do it early in the process and then just protect them as we go. I'm using a master airbrush. Again, I've told you before, this is the little $33 or $40 Walmart special kit that you can buy. We're going with a titanium white first, and then a green, and then a fluorescent sort of yellow or a neon to come over the top to really brighten it up, to give it that electric feel, right? That pop. And there you go. You can kind of see it's more of a really, really bright yellow or green, kind of a hybrid, a greenish yellow like orc skin, but super bright. So titanium white, mix it up. Consistency of whole milk. That's what we always keep saying, right? If you go to any kind of airbrush tutorial, that's what they'll tell you. You want your mixture to flow correctly. You need consistency of whole milk. And you can see when it drips out of here. And that may be a little bit too thin, to tell you the truth. So here we go, and we're going to set the PSI. I got a 30 pounds in the hose running from the compressor, roughly 24 to 30. That's typical, I think, for airbrushers. But what I'm doing now is I'm turning the air down at the nozzle. So I do have a little regulator underneath, right at the airbrush. So I'm turning it down to give me anywhere from 4 to 8 PSI, kind of a really low flow because we're dealing with such a small area. And what we do is we're just going to go first with white, and then so we'll go ahead and kind of time lapse this so we'll get through it. Okay, so now time to bust out the first green. And here is where, in my opinion, I made my first mistake. Just took me a little bit longer on this lower shield. And what I mean is, on this particular shield, I went with the darker non-fluorescent green first. And what I mean, it's orc green. It's that really bright green. But I just went with the non-fluorescent or non-neon one first. The neon version or the neon color is very, very transparent, so it was hard to get it to really pop. On the other shield, the upper left arm shield, I switched it and I started with the neon and then recovered with the darker color, just to let you guys know when you're, if you do anything like this. All right, one shoulder or shield done. So now we're going to move on to the upper left arm. One comment again about this, clear plastic wrap, basically sandwich wrap or Reynolds wrap. To me, again, it's my own little technique. I don't know if people have done this before, but it's really great to use as a mask, okay? And what I mean is it adheres to itself really well. So if anybody's ever, ripped off a piece of plastic wrap and you had it kind of touch each other, or the static cling of it kind of makes it adhere really well to itself, or when you stick it to a bowl, it like, bang, it's stuck. So it really, you can wrap a whole model or a whole section, and it is super, super thin. So I want to show you what I'm doing is I'm practicing right here below and getting my airflow correct. Now watch. You can see I kind of get the airflow. Look at the fine line, and I'm just practicing just to see how it's going to come out. And then we're going to go rinse and repeat. It's the same process as what we did on the other shield, okay? That's it. Okay, so I'm pausing a little bit. We are done. So the shield area and everything looks good. But now look, I'm getting out a different color green. Okay, I haven't used this yet. This is the first time you've seen me kind of do this. To me, the shield lost its kind of green flare or its green flavor. I don't know what other words to use. It didn't have enough green at the edges or depth of color. So what I do is I come in here and I say, okay, so from that bright hot yellow, which is supposed to be that electricity or that power generation kind of running through the shield, it didn't fade enough. It was all hot, right? The whole area was just blazing. So I didn't want that. I wanted it to kind of cool off as it reached out to the outer surfaces where you would get the objective source lighting, quote unquote, kind of flavor or feel, right? So I actually add one set of green here, darker green, and I go again and I add even more later, okay? Again, I got to speed this up because you guys aren't going to wait a whole hour and a half to sit here and watch me paint this miniature. So look at the green at the end. So what you see here now is more yellow. As we get to the finished product of the shields, okay, because the shields are very important to the model. You guys can tell I'm spending a lot of time explaining and I'm spending a lot of time actually painting, okay? But as you get to the end, watch where the green comes out, okay? Okay, so now look at this. See that green? I mean, like way different. I mean, that's what I was trying to tell you. It's so important to the model or the miniature. So let's go ahead, take this clear wrap off, and then you can see by when I take this clear wrap off, what I mean is it's perfect for a masking device or masking material. So here I'm pointing out we've got a little, more finished work. We've got some objective sourced lighting coming off the shield right there. And then also in the back here, you kind of see how it got a little glow effect crossing over. Here, look at this. Right now, you look at the shield. One thing I would like for you to note is the shield has lost its red, right? And it looks washed out now, like the whole thing is just green. We're going to correct that. I have to, because it doesn't look the way we want it to look. All right, in this section, we're going to go with a fluorescent or neon blue. And again, we do more color correction. This is way too light of color, so I needed more blue. So just like we did with the yellow and the green, later in the video, you'll see me add some more or bring in another darker blue color, and I go straight into the cup of the airbrush and I darken up that blue. This one, we finish off with a white. I wanted the edge of his blade to show the real bright power, so we left it a white, because a blue and a white combo with a black undertone or back setting is really sharp, and you'll see. Okay, so right here, basically what we're going to do is we're building up the white and sort of bringing it in a little blue. So if you can tell, there's like this line that runs through the blade that Pipermakes sculpted in. And again, it's sort of, I just call it a blade line, or a line that kind of establishes maybe the hot versus the cold, where, the electrical versus non. So you can tell I'm playing with it right here. I'm using the depth of the blade versus the back part of the handle and loading up that white. And I keep going back over and over and over the white using titanium white. Okay, again, just to establish that, to bring out the hottest part, right? I want pure white. Then what I'll do is I'll come back with a little blue and I'll run it down that line just to give it a backbone or a highlight. And you'll see that a little bit later. All right, talk about perfect timing. You see that backbone on that blade? That's what I'm talking about. That black against that blue and white background, or blue and white blade. So what we're going to do is basically, I'm going to catch you guys up. So you see all these little screwdriver looking things where it looks like you could put a screwdriver in and unscrew it. Basically they're painted, shield's painted. I'm kind of going over how we have more work to do. We'll correct the shields later, not right now. But I'm covering some things. Basically, I'm complaining about, I've really worked on this model a ton, like a lot of hours already, and we have more to do. Here I'm showing you the backbone, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Kind of a messy or a dirty blade separating that hot blade. And then when you look underneath there, even more contrast. You see how that blade, and then here we painted the Fusion Blaster white. Again, I just thought that was a neat kind of color, different contrast, throw in a thing of white. We got the fusion, the heat, the soot on the tips there, on the tip of the rifle barrel, or his Fusion Blaster. We have some stuff to clean up on the jetpack. We got his hand, right? His hands are not fully painted, or they're kind of washed out because of the black and brown wash that we did. But yeah, so basically just kind of a catch up. Oh, the symbol. So again, I started to paint the symbol. The top half is kind of painted blue sky with a little sun. Kind of looked like a Hawaiian island to me sitting out there. So with the horizon line. So what we're going to do is we're going to go grab a blue. This section of the video is the longest most slowed down section. I didn't speed this up. I didn't do a time lapse. We're going to grab a gray blue. And here is how I establish, I guess, my look. If you were to put it in air quotes, this is my look. I don't copy anybody. I don't go watch YouTubers and like, oh, let me do that. I've just been painting this way for many, many, many years. What I'm going to do is all the washed out, and what I mean washed out, literally, the black and brown oil washes, they stain or tint a color. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm picking up those dark grayish blues with almost what you would be considered a edge highlighting, but I'm not edge highlighting. It's not an edge. I'm actually just going back and repainting the surfaces of what his armor is, or his, underneath plates. So I'm giving him more color. I'm making him quote unquote hotter or brighter in the contrast, right? You got darks, lights. So I'm bringing back out the light so it stands out away from the depths or the recesses. At the same time, I'm leaving them dirty, okay? I'm not fully painting them so that they read as a solid color. An example would be, let's say you're coloring a coloring book, and you go, or paint by numbers, and you go in and you say, I'm going to paint this little space, number 1, the color blue, because that's what they told me to paint it. So I paint that little cell or that little piece blue. Then the next one to it is a different shade of blue, and I paint that cell or that area a different shade. And I go through the whole paint by numbers painting, coloring each little cell or at least each little section sort of its own color. But then 20 feet away, if you throw it up on a wall, you can't tell. Like 30 feet away, you look at it, you're like, wow, it's painted. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing the same thing. I'm painting each section, right, of these little spaces. I'm highlighting the direction of where I want the light, and I'm leaving them dirty because I'm leaving some of that oil staining and coffee staining on there, like alive. I want it to be part of the miniature, the dirtiness or the staining. So I'm actually avoiding certain areas and not painting the whole thing, okay? Again, that's the only way I know how to explain it. I apologize if you guys are probably really smart dudes, so, you guys get it. But it's just, that's what I do. It's my style. It takes me forever to paint like this. But that's how I get that aged kind of look. It's not really a grimdark style, right? Because grimdark, if you go watch Grimdark Compendium and a few other folks that paint like that, that is heavily, heavily battle-worn, really desaturated, which obviously mine is not. Mine is in your face with saturation, right? The colors are just bright. Again, cell-shaded comic book style. So it's not grimdark, but for me, my style, it's still battle-worn. These guys are out fighting, and it's not like they in a parade dress, on the line, pinning their medals to their chests in their press suits or whatever. These guys are out there fighting, doing dirty work out there, getting grimy, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be grimdark battle-worn or grimdark like filthy. But like here, look, you see how, again, I just keep repeating myself. Sorry, everybody, but see how I leave the dirt and the black and the depth and the division of color. Anyway, I'll be quiet now. I hope you guys are learning something, all right? I'm doing this for you guys, not for me. This takes a long time. So anyway, I'll be quiet now. Let's play some music. Okay, so I couldn't be quiet for that long, okay? If anybody who knows me, they know I can't be quiet. Anyway, so this is what I want you guys to take note of, okay? No matter how long I've been painting this, it's still imperfect, right? And that is my style, right? If you were to like put a name to it, whatever, it's not GW Studio style, but it's imperfect for a reason. And that's where I say, like, some of the judging or people who may look at my stuff in a big tournament and judge me, maybe they'll think that I'm not doing what they want, or like the GW look, you know, that studio look, which seems a lot of folks are leading to now or leaning to. But yeah, so like this perfect example, look at this hand, right? It's all washed out, no more color. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna pick out every finger joint, every thumb joint, palm, everything, and I'm just gonna highlight them. But I'm leaving in between the fingers alone. Like, I don't care about in between the fingers. In between the fingers, it's dirty. It's that way for a reason. Okay, the guy's out there fighting. He's wearing gloves, doing whatever, right? Okay, enough said. Okay, in this section, now we're going to correct the shields, okay? So I've said it a couple times earlier, but now this is when we're going to go add back in some contrast and some color, right, back into the shields. We're going to go with our nice cadmium light red. Again, this is that tube of paint right there is so old. It's got to be from like the 2000s, like early 2000s. It's got to be 20-year-old tube of paint. Anyway, so you can see me, I put a little red down on the piece of paper there, and I took the brush and I went to my tongue and I put a little water on the end of that brush, or just a little saliva, right, on that end of that brush, because I want to break that paint down just a little bit. Now, my cup of water is right there. Could I have went to the cup of water? Absolutely. But you see that brush leave the screen. Well, it's going to the tip of my tongue, right? I mean, there's a term out there. You guys all know it. We called brush lickers, right? There's probably a website called Brush Lickers Anonymous, because all of us plastic crack guys got this thing where when we're painting, you got to lick the tip of your brush. So anyway, that's what's happening. So watch me here as I bring the color back into these shields. Okay, so I paused it here from the time lapse, right? Because this is, again, another important step. So I just want you guys to see the process because, again, I don't know what level of painting folks that watch my stuff, like what level you're at. So, again, I got to break things down for you. So we just got done applying the red and we just got done applying the brazen brass in the same session, right? Just like right now, painting session where I'm sitting down painting. Typically, you want to give drying time. As you're painting portions of a model, my personal belief, I put the model down when I get done, for example, like doing a shield or doing something airbrushing or doing his sword or whatever. I put the model down and I wait. Okay, I wait for it to dry because I just don't want to go back into it with any type of water or chemical or whatever and have what I've worked so hard to get perfect, have that water or that chemical bring it back up and separate it, okay, either from the plastic miniature or the primer or whatever. Some of you who have painted using acrylics, you guys know probably what I mean. When you go straight back into an acrylic that really hasn't had a long time to dry, it jacks it up. Well, oil, you can see me, I'm messing around with this. Now the shield or this orange and the red and the green, it's had several days to dry because we've been doing other stuff, right? We airbrushed this, for example, 2 or 3 days ago. So it can take an oil, and why I'm doing the oil now is part of that dirty nature that I like to achieve, okay? I'm going to go back in, you'll see. We'll see I'm being aggressive here with my finger. There's like a little piece of dirt or something I don't like right there on that energy portion, and I got to get rid of it. It looks like I did. So watch me go back in here with black. And I'm going to do like a panel line. I go right in there and I touch that where those two panels separate, right? Where the glow and where the copper and the brazen brass and the red, there's a line there. So right there is that black. Now that's black. I've always told you brown is dirty, black is oily. Well, I'm going with black because I want again, much higher contrast right there in that area because I'm going to go back over that brazen brass later. You may not see it, but I'm going to go back over it with a gold, like a brighter color. And again, that's what I'm going to use to edge highlight that brazen brass so that brass really pops, okay, in the final product. Also, I go heavy on the oil because on the oil wash, as it's drying or as the oil or turpentine or mineral spirits leaves, I can go in a day later and I can go even clean that up, right? Because oils don't dry like an acrylic. Oils stay, that you can manipulate an oil after a while, after 2, 3, 4 days. Now, there is a certain point when the oil kind of hardens up and that's it. But like I can go back in, like right here, watch. I'm just hitting that crack, that little delineation between those two pieces or those two parts on his armor. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean those up. And it's so easy to clean those up with the brush, even though I went heavy there. So just some more techniques for your toolbox or your tool bag, okay? Okay, so at this point, I'm getting pretty excited because, I'm getting closer and closer. I want this thing done, but look at this. Looking better and better. Look at that little thing on his helmet, that little green with the little objective source lighting there against the other part of his armor. I painted a section of right down the middle of his chest. If you remember, it was all red. Well, I went in and put in some olive green. So again, color shifting things around, just making the plates a little bit more defined by switching the color. Again, I'm pointing out things. See the rust. So I've done a test. Basically what I'm saying in the video here is I'm showing you that I've done a test, and now it's time to do the rest, right? The chains on the shield, the one on the thigh, the one on the wrist or the gauntlet area. We do have some lettering to do, so I have painted the ribbons. We do have some lettering to put on the ribbons, right? This is just the final sort of really detailed work, the monotonous kind of stuff. So we're going to go with our Dirty Downs Rust. This is like magic in a bottle. If you went in, YouTube folks that have used this, and other than me, just go type in Dirty Downs or whatever, Rust techniques, and YouTube it, you'll see it. Everybody's super thumbs up. This is magic. If you're going to do Rust differently, like the old build-up method where you got to paint some black and some orange, and then you got to add a little kind of a dust or pigment, and yeah, this Dirty Downs is just liquid gold in a bottle. Amazing. So I apply water first. So that's why no Dirty Downs yet. And the reason I apply water, again, for your knowledge, is to diffuse, right, the Dirty Downs. So once I go into the Dirty Downs and then apply it, I want the Dirty Downs to get into the cracks, crevices, and the nooks and crannies of the chain. In addition to that, this model has been clear coated. Okay, I clear coat first before I use Dirty Downs, just FYI. Okay, so we stopped it here again. There's another little technique, or at least I just wanted to show you how quick Dirty Downs, this rust stuff can be to achieve a great quick effect, right? So now watch what I'm doing to these shin guards. It's so quick and it looks so good, like amazing. Okay, so anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you. I slowed it down here so you can actually see the technique and what I'm doing. I paint up top, right? And then I'm pulling almost like an oil paint. I'm pulling down as like rain or rust would come down the surface. So I'm streaking it, like streaking grime or whatever other type of materials you would use, like enamels kind of work well this way. So again, watch. See how I go up in the corner and I get that nice and bright, that good rust color. And then I'll go in and I'll work it and I'll pull it down. Okay, so again, that's why I brought this back and I slowed it down for you. Okay, so we're going to slow this down again, or at least come in for a close-up. I'm back on the mic to give you an explanation. You see that ball joint in that foot? I've already hit that with Dirty Downs once with a coat of water and then kind of a little wash of Dirty Downs. So that's what Dirty Downs does to the model or to paint, depending on your colors. As like a wash. So when I told you before I hit the chains and stuff with a little bit of water, that's why, because that exact effect, what you just saw right there, it happens into the chains too. And it's amazing.
नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं ओ नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं और नजरिया नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं लागे नहीं कहीं और नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं और नजरिया लागे नहीं कहीं नजरिया
Okay, so we just went through a long section of weathering, or specifically dirty downs. There's still more stuff to do, like what we call chipping, putting little dots of chip paint and stuff, you know, where the chips are. But I wanted to slow this down. I did not time lapse that section on purpose because I wanted you guys to see the actual application in real time, or again, not sped up. So now here's a secret. Now watch this. Okay, you guys have not seen this yet, and this again, watch this. You guys have not seen this. You didn't know I was going to do this, but look at that. Boom. Check this out. Oh yeah. Commander Farsight has a back banner. This is like Lord of Flies stuff here, people. Lord of the Spider. Anyway, I like it. I mean, it's just in your face, like bang. And I made that banner from like scratch, and that's real cloth. That's again, that's from my like a t-shirt material, and so that's why I can get the edges and everything looking like that. Okay, so we are getting super close. We are almost done. We're down to the basing. I mean, I still have like the letters and stuff to put on the ribbons and things to do, but for the most part, we're done. Okay. So basically now it's basing. There's hundreds and hundreds of basing videos. I'm pointing out right there. That's that green tea. Okay. I'm using green tea as a basing material, and I have a little video that shows you what to do with green tea. Basically, you use it, let it dry out, and man, I'm telling you, like, you guys think I'm kidding, but this stuff, I'm finding some pretty cool stuff. Anyway, so look at this tree. I left one open. I'm pointing at it right there. I left one. It's a really cool method of making a bush. And look at this. This material in my hand, that is grapevine. Like literally real grapevine. So after you go to Costco or whatever, your store, and you buy a little basket of grapes, that is a grapevine. After you use it, you take it, wash it in water, go sit it out somewhere and dry it. And yeah, I eat a lot of grapes. So, but look at this. So my display board is going to have these vines and these grapes and these flowers and stuff running through my display board. And I'm telling you, it's going to be cool. So just a little secret. But yeah, get yourself some grapevines. And then from Hobby Lobby, okay, let me put these grapevines away real quick. Then from Hobby Lobby, go get yourself some plastic plant material, little tiny flowers. Right here, I'll show you real quick. See these things, these nice little flowers. I mean, they're just plastic. So anyway, I'll show you how to install them. See, the ones on there are washed. So I washed these little white flowers in a oil mixture first to get the dirt and kind of depth, so that it doesn't look plastic, right? Because if you don't do anything with them, like here's one that's washed. Like if you don't do anything with them, then they look fake. It's obvious. They're nasty looking. So you got to wash them. You got to kind of paint them up a little bit. So you pop it out, okay? And then we're going to take a little razor blade and we're going to cut that little doodad, right? Or thingamajig off the bottom, okay? Let's call it a hoopty. So we're gonna take this little hoopty off the bottom here. I'm just trying to get this thing in the picture, in the camera, so you can see. Again, don't cut your thumb. But you just want to shave right at the base. And right there. Then you come in with an X-Acto blade. This is what I did. You probably don't have to do that. But you come in with an X-Acto blade, and what I did is I kind of put a chamfer around that hole. See the angle of the blade? And I just kind of cut around. Basically, it's to get the super glue, because I didn't want to use hot glue out of a hot glue gun. Little dab of super glue. And so what I did is I just gave the super glue more of a bite, right? An area to stick. And these things aren't coming off. I'm telling you, I tried to pull one off, and once you super glue it, it's on there for good. If you're going to try to pull it off, you're going to end up tearing the flower itself. So here we go, a little dab of super glue, and then I'll let you watch me do this. I don't need to talk over it. Pretty basic. All right, so going with some tufts here. I believe these tufts are like Dead World or Marshland tufts or something like that. That's why they're kind of that brownish, reddish kind of barn color look. Then we're gonna go put one on the back side. You see that area under his shield, sort of down on the log, is not really doing anything. So we, again, the way I explain it is you just want to bring something there to the eye, so the eye goes and looks there, or can see in that area is, oh, okay, he's got another tuft, right? See, check it out. And that's it. I mean, that's basing. Millions of basing videos out there. I mean, this is, you guys, I mean, this stuff is easy, right? Now, we're going to do an acrylic or epoxy pour. Not acrylic, excuse me, but epoxy pour. That's next. Okay, so here we have our little condiment cup. We have a resin kit from Let's Resin. This was purchased off of Amazon.com. 16 ounce, so it's, you know, 2-part kit, so it's actually a 32-ounce kit. It's quite a lot of resin, and it was pretty cheap. I did a lot of research. Okay, this is water clear. It dries like a 6-hour, so it is a slow resin cure. I didn't want anything to develop heat. I wanted to be able to have working life, so I didn't want a half-hour quick cure epoxy. Longer curing resins typically can stay more clear, okay? And you got a part A, part B. So 1 part A to 1 part B. Very basic. If you've done any kind of epoxy gluing, that's how it works. So I'm pointing out here where we want it, okay? I recessed this particular part of the base on purpose. I underset it or made it lower than where he's standing in that high ground right in front, because I knew I was going to do a pour, okay? So basically, we're going to get out some tape, and we're going to make a wall, okay? Or a wall. We're going to seal it off so the stuff just doesn't run out all over the table, okay? And we're going to put some water here. So anyway, go ahead and watch, bust out the tape, and we'll go around the base. One section here, you'll see me cutting and manipulating the tape because we want that tape to be perpendicular to the base, right? Or straight up and down, because that's how we want that resin to end up curing. And you'll see at the end. Now, after we apply the tape, we've got a little cleanup to do, and I'll show you where it's not 90 degrees. Right under here, see, under the log or under the wood. So I gotta cut this out. So and because I gotta get it to be straight up and down, I don't want the resin to be manipulated by the tape, okay? Okay, so once we get our structure, right, our foundation set, now it's time to mix up the epoxy and to do our pour. Now you can use a pipette or some other tool to get the epoxy out of the little cup and into, you know, a pipette or like a little syringe or something where, you know, you can suck it out of there and then kind of squeeze it slowly in there, whatever. I'm just doing this method, okay? I'm lazy. I don't feel like going and buying something. So I'm just one at a time, drips at a time. Slowly. So here we go. Okay, so all we're doing here is the last little touch-ups. You'll see me a couple drips here and there, a couple drips here and there, just kind of placing the resin. But we're done. I mean, for all intents and purposes, see, I'm just kind of manipulating where it's traveling. But we're done, everybody. So it's another video, another painted miniature. This one was tough. I mean, it was difficult. Meaning not difficult, just took me forever, okay? I mean, it's no different than anything else we do on the channel, right? This channel. But I think I started this all the way back last year sometime, or maybe this year in like March or April, and it's already, I'm just posting this at the almost end of September. So anyway, it's a fun project. Next up, for the channel, I'm gonna go do for Tau. I'm gonna start my Ghostkeel 1 or 2. I'm not sure. I'm manipulating my list. There are certain things that got much better in the Tau list out of the codex. So again, I may change my list. I'm not sure. But next posting, I'm going to turn right around and get my Nurgle Demon ready. Okay, so my Greater Demon or Great Unclean One, I know some of you on the channel have seen that already, so that is next. So stay tuned. I am gonna, today's Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna start putting it together. If you like what I'm doing, everybody, please hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and hit that like button to change the algorithm. And like we always say on the channel, may all your dice rolls come up 6s unless you're looking for the 1. Peace out, everybody.